Hey everyone, welcome back. We love a good deep dive,
Yeah,
right? And this one you guys sent over. Wow, this is a wild one.
sounds like we've got our work cut out for us.
We definitely do. Okay, so you guys sent over this audio message, right? And it's from this person claiming to be part of, get this, TLS.
TLS.
TLS, that's what they said. And hold on to your hats, folks, because it gets better or worse, depending on how you look at it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
They're laying out this whole scenario about are you ready for this? A manufactured avian flu pandemic.
A manufactured pandemic. That's a pretty bold claim.
Right, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So
Yeah.
naturally, first things first, who or what is TLS?
Good question. Anything we should know about them?
That's the thing, it's like they're this big mystery, you know?
Mhm.
The message itself, that's all we've got to go on. Or what do you make of that?
Well, it certainly adds to the intrigue, doesn't it? I mean, are they trying to stay under the radar, or is this their way of, I don't know, making a statement? It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's like they want to be heard but not found. Super shady. But let's put aside the shadowy organization stuff for a second, dig into the meat of their claim. This whole weaponized avian flu thing, they even mentioned something called gain of function research. Does that ring a bell?
It does actually. Gain-of-function research has been quite controversial. It's basically when scientists, they manipulate viruses in a lab setting to try to understand how they could mutate to become more, say, transmissible or deadly.
So it's like they're trying to get ahead of the curve, see how viruses might evolve in the future.
Exactly. Kind of like a crystal ball for potential pandemics. But, and this is the controversial part, it involves intentionally making viruses more dangerous, at least in the lab, to study them.
And this message, it claims that's what happened with this avian flu, right?
Yeah.
That it was manipulated and then, get this, deliberately released.
That's the gist of it, yeah. They even point to, hold on, let me check my notes. Ah, yes, a Dr. Kawaka as the supposed mastermind. Now, of course, we have to take all this with a grain of salt. Without any concrete evidence or corroboration, it's impossible to say if any of this is true. But what we can do, what we always do, is look at the bigger picture, right?
Okay, so let's connect some dots here. They're saying this avian flu, it's just the first domino. The first step in a much larger plan to cause, get this, a global economic collapse.
Right, and this is where it starts to feel like we're veering into conspiracy theory territory.
And it gets even wilder because they claim this economic collapse, it's not even the end game. It's all part of a plan, they say, to usher in a new world order, one controlled by, wait for it, a global digital currency.
A global digital currency. That's a hot topic these days. I mean, it's something that's actually being discussed in legitimate financial circles.
Exactly. So they're taking something real, something people might already be a little uneasy about, and they're spinning it to fit their narrative.
It's clever, I'll give them that. But it's also concerning because this kind of messaging can be very persuasive to those who are already prone to distrusting institutions or who are looking for simple explanations for complex problems. And it's not just about, the money. This message, it also brings up this whole debate around digital control systems. They specifically mention digital passports, which I think is on a lot of people's minds. What are your thoughts on that whole thing?
It's definitely creepy to think about. The message, they mentioned the G20 declaration from, what was it, 2022, about those digital health certificates. That always seemed kind of far-fetched to me. I don't know. Is that something we should actually, be worried about?
I think it's something to, keep an eye on for sure. The way they were talking about it back then, it was all about streamlining international travel after the pandemic. Imagine, all your vaccination records, test results, all that, all digital, linked to your passport.
So, instead of digging through your bag for that little card they gave you, it's all right there on your phone. Convenient, maybe, but also, I don't know, a little bit, Big Brother-ish.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? On the one hand, you've got potential for things to be way more efficient, maybe even prevent future outbreaks, who knows? But, big but, you've also got these concerns about privacy, right? Like, what happens if that data gets hacked or misused?
Or, imagine a world where your digital health info, it's not just about travel anymore, right? It's like whether you can go to a concert or, I don't know, get into a restaurant.
Exactly. That's the core of the debate, really. How much are we willing to kind of give up control in the name of safety? And who gets to decide where that line is?
Okay, yeah, that's getting into some serious conspiracy theory territory right there. Because if someone could control all that data, Talk about power.
No doubt. And that ties right back into what this TLS message is suggesting, right? This idea that someone's pulling the strings, orchestrating a crisis.
To gain control, which, let's be real, we've seen that playbook before. I mean, remember when, never mind, you know what I'm talking about.
Right. History's full of examples of people in power, taking advantage of a crisis. That's why it's so important to, really look at messages like this with a critical eye, question everything, do your own research, all that.
Well, speaking of research, this message, it didn't just throw out these wild claims. They actually gave some advice, like how to prepare for this avian flu pandemic they're predicting. What did you think about that part?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? They mentioned vitamin D, nebulizers, even hinted at a vegan diet being helpful. It's like they were trying to cover all the bases.
Yeah, a little something for everyone. Like they were trying to appeal to, the prepper crowd, the health nuts, you name it.
It's important to remember, though, this is just, their take on it, right? Not medical advice, obviously. Anyone listening who's concerned should definitely talk to their doctor.
100%. Talk to a real medical professional. Don't take medical advice from a mysterious audio message. That's rule number one. But it does make you wonder, why include those specific things?
Right. What's the motivation there? Is it genuine concern? Trying to build credibility?
Yeah.
Or something else entirely?
It's like they're playing this game, and we're trying to figure out the rules as we go. So where do we even go from here? We've got this message, all these claims, some pretty wild potential scenarios.
Yeah.
What does it all mean for us, the listeners?
That's the big question, right? It's easy to go down these rabbit holes, the what ifs and all that, but I think the important thing to remember is we want to empower ourselves, with information, with critical thinking. That's
Right.
the real value of these deep dives.
So it's not really about is this TLS message true? It's more about how do I deal with this kind of information?
Exactly. I mean, who knows? Maybe this TLS message is totally legit. Maybe it's bogus. Maybe it's something in between. But no matter what, it shows us something really important. We are swimming in information these days. I mean, it's everywhere. And we have to figure out, what to trust, what to ignore.
Which, let's be real, it can be really overwhelming sometimes. Where do we even start?
Start with curiosity, like you did, right? You found this message, you're like, what's this all about?
Yeah.
And you brought it to us. That's the spirit. Don't just accept things at face value, especially when it comes to something as serious as, a global pandemic.
So anyone listening right now, they're probably thinking, okay, my brain is full. If they only remember one thing from this whole conversation, what should it be?
Think of it like this. You're building your BS detector, right? You're adding tools to your toolkit so you can spot the BS a mile away. Question everything, look at things from different angles, find the evidence, don't just go with your gut. And most important, be wary of anyone who says they have all the answers.
Because nobody does.
Yeah.
And being okay with that, with not knowing everything, with things being complicated.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point.
100%. Don't be afraid to be like, I don't know, but I want to find out. That's how we learn, right?
Love it. Embrace the mystery, but do your research.
Well, this has been quite the deep dive. Even if it did freak me out a little, gotta be honest.
My pleasure. This is what we live for.
And to everyone listening, thanks for diving in with us. Until next time, stay curious out there.